fire crews race to contain a blaze that's just taken off in Ipswich.
A waterbombing pilot tells how he survived when his chopper crashed into a dam.
A father run down by a four-wheel drive in a road rage nightmare.
SeaWorld chopper crash bombshell. Why weren't the passengers properly buckled in?
Groceries, petrol, energy, airfares. Price gouging under the microscope in a new inquiry.
And your first look at the new Broncos mega mural, cross-code love from the Lions as finals fever builds.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharon Gadella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. The state has sweltered through a hot blast with records broken on the Gold Coast.
It's our first taste of El Nino with one of the warmest September days in years.
Over a blanketed Brisbane, the sun welcomed. The heat, not so much.
Very hot, extreme hot.
El Nino's conditions in full effect. From the Gold Coast to Ipswich, water parks got a workout.
I'm going in the water.
It's a scorcher, so it's good that you can come down here and they can play.
Icy treats all round went down a treat.
The heat is very hot and the ice cream is so delicious.
A day packed with school holiday fun as the state sizzled. In both Logan and Ipswich, it was a maximum of 35.5 degrees. Brisbane City, 32.3, close to 36 degrees in Gatton, the highest temperature in Julia Creek. Coolangatta smashing its heat record.
Exceeded its September temperature record with a period of record around 38 years or so.
Cattle braved almost 35-degree heat in Boonah. In Gympie, the 34-degree temps surprised locals.
Probably going to go swim in the creek that we have up at our property.
Western Winton, they coped with a couple of cold ones.
We've had a lot of heat build up over the interior of the country. We also now have a trough that's moving through southwestern Queensland towards the southern Queensland coast. So ahead of that trough, it's dragging all that hot air down from the interior towards the coast, and that's what's leading to these above average temperatures.
The heat is more like what we've come to expect in summer than early spring, with temperatures making it one of the warmest September days since 2017.
I'm going home now and put the air conditioning on.
Good thinking. Sally Geit, 7 News.
And Georgia Costi, the heat saw a lot of people heading to the beaches.
They were the place to be, Sharon. Lifeguards say that more than 46,000 people visited our patrolled beaches. Burleigh Heads was the busiest location, but there was only 4 rescues right across the city, which is a pretty low number considering those huge crowds we saw. Lifeguards say that tomorrow, however, is the day they really need people to follow their instructions, and that's because the wind is set to pick up, creating a larger swell.
Georgia Costi on the Gold Coast. To breaking news now, and at the end of a high fire danger day, crews are tackling a blaze west of Ipswich. George Roy, it sparked late this afternoon.
Max, fire authorities have been nervously watching conditions all day with plenty of resources ready, and so have been pretty quick to jump on this fire at Ebenezer near Amberley Air Base. There's about 17 crews on the ground and 2 water bombers in the air, really just ensuring that no properties come under threat. There had been a pretty big concern about today, but thankfully no major fires were started, and those that have been burning have been kept contained thanks to the fact that the forecast westerlies never really got going. Right now there are warnings out for 9 fires across the state, but they are all at the advice level, the lowest level in the fire warning system, and thankfully conditions are easing.
Joel Dry with the latest there on the fire situation in Queensland. Now to Tony Auden, and a cooler change is closing in.
It's not far away, Sharon. That wind change has just moved through Coolangatta and it's headed north. It should reach surface paradise in the next hour or so, then hurry across the southeast overnight. Tomorrow, strong winds, gusts up to 60 k's an hour on the beaches. Top temperatures up to 10 degrees cooler and mostly cloudy, but still no rain. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thank you, Tony. A helicopter pilot who crashed into a dam while fighting fires in the scenic rim says he feels lucky to be alive. Escaping with no serious injuries, Grant Schultz has recounted the moment he thought he was taking his last breath.
2 scratches and a few bruises. Grant Schultz survived what most wouldn't.
How are you feeling today?
Like I've played about 10 games of football in a row today.
The experienced helicopter pilot was called to a fire in Cunningham's Gap. On the way to collect his first bucket of water, his trip took a turn.
Unfortunately, there was some kind of uncommanded aircraft kind of movement.
Plummeting into a dam at Toowoomba, the 39-year-old became trapped underwater.
I undid my seatbelt and I fell to the bottom. I went to swim in the back and I took one breath. I think at that time there was probably only 4 inches of air left in the top. Yanked on the handle a few times and it twisted, and then I just grabbed the door and pulled on it till I could get it open enough.
Swimming to shore, he was met by a farmer with a familiar face.
It turned out that I'd met him before and taken his family for a joyride.
Grant had recently undergone rigorous training ahead of this bushfire season.
You kind of read about it and hope it's not you. Ultimately, I think that the training probably saved my life.
The Australian Transport Safety Bureau has begun its investigation, but it'll be some time before what's left of the water-bombing helicopter can be removed from the dam.
Obviously, there'll be investigations into the situation.
Firefighting and keeping the community safe for our staff and volunteers is a risky business.
Grant says he'll be back in the air in a few weeks, grateful he made it out alive, minus some valuables.
My phone and my iPad and, my lunchbox. So. But Evan did tell me my lunchbox has floated to the surface.
And luckily, unlike Grant, they're all replaceable. Anna McGraw, 7 News.